Hello, friends, and welcome to This Week in the Borderlands. In place of an individual Q&A, I'm going to lump together several questions into a single, longer form answer. By far, the most common question is about the inspirations for my book, and I've neglected one of the largest, my Christian faith. After Book 2, the sequel to Son of the Borderlands, I'm going to pause Rise of the Dragonlands for a bit to write a Christian memoir and talk about how reconnecting with my faith saved my life during its darkest hours. The tentative title is Dark Night of the Soul. You don't have to be or have ever been Christian to enjoy the allegories in the book. If you grew up in the West, they have made it so far into pop culture that no one thinks twice. Now, Son of the Borderlands is not Christian fantasy. There's no Eru Ilúvatar like Tolkien, whose Catholic faith and experiences in the trenches of World War I intimately informed Middle-earth, let alone a direct Christ-like figure like Lewis's Aslan. The most prominent god, Varanox, is not all good. He's capricious and feared, but not loved, even by his worshippers. He doesn't just let suffering happen as a consequence of free will or fallen humanity, he actively causes it. In a lot of ways, he treats humanity like a plaything. One is never assured of his favor, but rest assured, he punishes disfavor. Unless you're especially strong or artful, in which case one may gain his favor back. He doesn't talk, he strikes. There's no revealed Bible or Quran or Tanakh, only the pattern recognition of his people, and they recognize he is a god of deeds with a little regard for the weak. Son of the Borderlands is dark. It is violent. It features old gods, ancestral curses, betrayal, spiritual manipulation, and characters doing terrible things for what they believe is a greater good. Just like the Bible, which begins in paradise but doesn't stay long, Cain murders Abel and is cursed by God. Like the scourge, God destroys worlds and cities gone corrupt. Kings rise and fall. The people rebel and eventually kill the perfect being, Jesus. The Bible is not afraid of darkness. Enter Anton Kazarian. Anton has satanic aspects. He's the greatest of his God's children, though his fall occurs in a different manner than Satan himself. He is not perfect, but he believes himself to be a good man and a good emperor. He asks his God to redeem his fallen people, but the God refuses. Now, consumed with 2,000 years of rage, he wants to return to his divine father's side and be acknowledged and held close as his son. Genesis chapter 3, verse 5, you will be like gods. He has hubris, the original sin, but he doesn't see it. By the time of Son of the Borderlands, Anton, like Satan, is a tempter, a twister of truths. One beta reader called him a narcissistic abuser. In the first chapter, he offers an innocent, powerless boy powers beyond his comprehension. In a lot of ways, that's a root of temptation. Be your own God. Take the throne. Good is what makes you rich, powerful, and beloved, and evil is that which takes those away and humbles you. Anton says, become what you were meant to be. Protect your people. Be free from the depredations of powerful men. All things that a young, precocious, and victimized Agni obsesses over. But it is said that the devil always calls in his end of the bargain. And what is Anton's end of the bargain? Domination. It's peace and order, but brought under flame and blade. There's no mercy. Join me or face my wrath. All this is abstractions to a child. Placed in the Christian mythos, Anton is an antichrist. But unlike Jesus, Agni, especially as a young boy, gives in to temptation. Matthew chapter 4, verse 3, command these stones to become bread. Remember, Jesus had starved 40 days and nights at this point and still resists. Matthew chapter 4, verse 6, if you are the Son of God, throw yourself down. His angels will lift you up so that you will not strike your foot against a stone. And finally, the greatest, Matthew chapter 4, verse 9, I will give you all the kingdoms of the world if you will bow down and worship me. Anton even works signs and miracles to earn Agni's trust, and he gives in. 20 years later, he becomes Solancha's most powerful warlord. even one day promised to rule a greater empire alongside him, again beyond his comprehension. Agni wants to use it for good, to protect everyone he loves and his homeland, but he doesn't know any better and he thinks he can define it. But Anton takes his will, his identity. He wants Agni to become his weapon and calls it destiny. For years, he all but possesses him. He gives him wisdom that no mortal has seen. But Agni's fits, a matter of whispers and legends among his people, almost always end in savagery or deception. John chapter 8, verse 34, anyone who practices sin is a slave to sin. That's why I changed the tagline of the book to everyone saw the imperial hero, no one saw the dark power behind him. 2 Peter chapter 2, verses 19. They promise them freedom, but they themselves are slaves of corruption. For whatever overcomes a person, to that he is enslaved. And Anton is very much his master from the time he couldn't comprehend it. John chapter 8, verse 44, the devil is a liar and the father of lies. Anton gives Agni a false identity. He says, you are nothing without me. You are your wounds, your trauma, your rage, and through them you will achieve salvation one day as ruler of a restored Empire Casia. Like the devil in the screw tape letters, it is said, he is empty and would be filled. Anton needs to be filled. He cannot yet walk the mortal realms. In one respect, he is godlike, but in another, lacking a body, he is nearly powerless. But rather than the new creation of Revelation 21, Anton wants to return to the old world, to antiquity, to man and empire before the fall, not realizing that this isn't possible. He even uses the biblical metaphor of a woman's birth pains, but the joy thereafter. That is why I say Son of the Borderlands is meant to illustrate things truer than true, a timeless tale like Tolkien and Lewis. Now, I'm not putting myself in their league as a writer or a world creator, but I grew from their moral architecture. Concepts like that evil cannot create, only corrupt. How mercy becomes part of providence. How the smallest person can bear the greatest burden. And how temptation says that you can use this evil power, like Tolkien's One Ring, for good. Anton, like Satan, speaks, reasons, and flatters. He isn't a distant dark lord like Sauron, but like in the book of Revelation, he slowly takes off his mask to reveal a terrible, malevolent power. In future books, you will see Anton rise, great and terrible to your eyes. Again, this isn't Christian fantasy. There's no one-to-one between the characters in the Bible. Vernox is not God. Anton is not Satan. Agni is not Jesus. The Dragonlands are not Israel. But the concepts and the moral stakes are there. Fantasy is meant to externalize spiritual realities. In many ways, Agni is all of us. We think that we're powerful, intelligent, and independent, but even the wisest of us is a child next to what stands against us. Ephesians chapter 6, verse 12. For we do not wrestle against flesh and blood, but against the rulers, against the authorities, against the cosmic powers over this present darkness, against the spiritual forces of evil in the heavenly places. And there is a horror in being claimed by something you cannot understand. Children survive by surrender, not defiance. I say elsewhere that Agni was given power before wisdom. He becomes the High General of Salantia, but is still nothing against the supernatural. Anton says that the modern world will be helpless against powers from a time before our understanding, from before history. But it is not final. John chapter 8, verse 32, you will know the truth and the truth will set you free. But it is painful. One must re-examine all we know, all we have done. We must die to lies and sin to be reborn to the truth. One must repent to be renewed, and Agni's dark past is never far behind. One must acknowledge that ignorance does not make bondage harmless. Neither Christianity nor Son of the Borderlands are nihilistic, but nor are they easy. We must die to ourselves. Anton refuses to. He wants glory without surrender, immortality without holiness, or as I've heard pastors say, the crown without the cross. Anton has not learned Matthew chapter 16, verse 26. What will it profit a man if he gains the whole world but forfeits his soul? And he faces exactly that. He has lost all semblance of human morality. That which revives his empire is good, that which impedes it is evil. It's that simple. How will it end as these forces strive against one another? You'll have to pick up a copy of Son of the Borderlands to find out. See the timeless tale within in a new world. And I'll see you all soon. So long.